Alright everybody, welcome. This is Dead Space. I'm starting in the middle of Dead Space. I know I started in the middle of Amnesia 2, and the reason I started in the middle of Amnesia was because it wasn't until I was already partway through the game that someone made the suggestion and gave me the idea to start recording and then uploading to YouTube. So I had that idea right from the beginning with Dead Space, but there was basically an error. Probably something on my end. I'm inclined to blame Dead Space because so far I haven't liked this game very much, but probably the error was my fault, and I lost all of the video again. I had the recording of me complaining, but no actual footage of what I was complaining about. So, I resented those first hour or two of Dead Space so much that I could just restart. I'm still at the beginning of the game, right? But in this case, I'm just not going to, and I'm not ever going to. I'm not going to go back and replay this one because I really don't like it. I did not have a good time with Dead Space at all. But I will do my best to try and keep a positive attitude, because there's always a strong chance that the game will improve toward the back end. And I'll also do my best to try and articulate what it is about Dead Space that bothers me so much. So the first problem that we're going to encounter is basically the mouse sensitivity, because, for example, I'm going to jump into the options right now, and I overshoot every time. I really just don't know how to gauge just how far the mouse is going to move on any particular movement. And it seems to be a little more than just a problem with sensitivity. It's a problem with acceleration, that small movements don't accelerate the mouse very much at all, and large movements accelerate it way too rapidly. So there's a weird curve that I'm not really used to. And I'm not really sure what the problem is. Is it just that the acceleration is bad? My suspicion is actually that it has to do with the fact that Dead Space was originally created for use with consoles. And what I'm seeing is the game trying to estimate how much my movement of my mouse signifies displacement of an analog stick. So I ended up turning the mouse sensitivity really high anyway, just as a workaround, basically, because I was having so much trouble just moving and aiming, and I'm still having a lot of problems with it, so I'll show you those as well when we get into the game. But before I even get into that, I wanted to show this off. Sorry, it takes me a bit to highlight things again because I don't have precise control over my mouse here. I currently have the foot stomp, as you can see, assigned to the right bracket. So here's another way, effectively, that I know that this was not a game that was built with a PC interface in mind. When I plugged in my mouse, which is about a 7-button mouse, depending on what counts, it had no idea what the extra buttons were. It couldn't figure out what to do with them. So I actually had to go and reconfigure my mouse and use a workaround that I use for many old games. Really old games, like mid-90s games that were alien and foreign to the concept of a mouse with many buttons. So what I do is I tell the mouse control to use a keyboard macro. Basically, when I press a button on the mouse, it sends, for instance, the right bracket, and then I tell the game that when I press the right bracket to do the particular command. So I just want to express the incredible resentment I have that a game like Dead Space, that is as recent as it is, still couldn't, when they ported it to PC, couldn't be bothered, effectively, to make sure that it was capable of functioning with the mouse properly. But we'll get to more of that once we're actually in the game. So, you're going to hear me complain a lot, unfortunately, because every time I've gotten into combat so far, it's been pretty much total frustration. I am a big fan of basically the sniper approach to combat. I like to put distance between myself and enemies, and I like to take slow, deliberate, and very effective shots. But what I get from this game, for the most part, is a complete inability to do that, which I will attempt to demonstrate now. So what I'm doing right now, which you can only kind of see in the game, is I'm inching my mouse to the right. I'm just gliding it very slowly, and you can occasionally see when I pick up speed with the mouse that I'm getting a slight jitter in that direction. There, I bumped it a little harder than normal. But the thing that amazed me basically was that as long as I'm moving slowly enough, I can basically get the mouse even right off the end of my mouse pad with almost no movement. I'll have moved maybe 2 or 3 degrees in terms of the visual range on the camera. Now you can still see this in the menus, but as an example, this is the same speed. I'm moving my mouse at exactly the same pace that I was. And even though the acceleration is still really weird in the menus, this is what I'd at least expect to see, is that when I move my mouse slowly, the cursor moves slowly. But when I'm doing that in the game, you see I'm still doing it, and I'm getting absolutely no movement whatsoever. So I don't know if this is a specific issue with me and my hardware, or if it's a problem with Dead Space itself, and it's a problem that many other computer users encountered. I didn't have this kind of issue, or at least I don't remember having this kind of issue with Dead Space 2. So I'm inclined to think that it's the game and not my setup. And my inclination, as I said, is to actually just blame all this on the fact that this was a game that was made for consoles, and they really just didn't consider the PC user at all while they were making it. So here's another awkward example, though, where I can see lots of instances of the thing going awry. When I bring up my inventory like this, my natural inclination, this is a screen, I move my mouse, but my mouse is actually still rigged up to the camera. Now I get the impression that this is meant to be this way, that, for instance, there's supposed to be hectic moments where in the middle of combat, sorry, I got a text message there. In the middle of combat, I will need to bring up my inventory and mess around with the contents here, and this is so that I can continue to look around. But the fact that means, for instance, that I have to let go of my viewfinder in order to go over to the directional keys of all things. Why not let me hold down a mouse button or something like that to let me switch between manipulating the cursor, manipulating the camera? I don't know, just a dozen things that seem really awkward and really weird. And it all seems to be stemming from the fact that this was made for a console, and I don't know, like they didn't have respect enough for the PC platform or something to even be bothered to make the adjustments, to make the logical adjustments when they ported it over to a different control scheme. So that really bugs me. That bugs me a lot. That bugs me more than anything else. But I mean, little things like I'm rolling my scroll wheel right now. You'll notice a distinct lack of weapon switching. But that's because the weapon switching is actually queued to the directional pad in the console version. So rather than create a new system whereby I can roll the scroll wheel to switch between weapons, they just make me do that. They assign these to the number keys, and I just have to press number keys in order to switch between my weapons, which is a little inconvenient since, as an example, it forces me to take my fingers off of the movement controls, which can be a pretty big deal in the middle of a fight. Especially, for instance, if it's something like an enemy has popped up right close to me and I need to rapidly switch to a shorter range weapon. I'm not going to be able to do that while backing away from that enemy. Of course, backing away is its own heinous problem because Isaac seems to move a little differently when he's backing up as opposed to when he's running forward. I'm not seeing much of it there, but it's happened a couple times where it basically felt like he was running into something, like he was backing up into a wall, but when I turned around there was nothing there, so it was basically like he was getting hooked on some piece of the geometry or something, and he was just slowing down for effectively no reason. So I'm having a lot of just kind of basic control problems, is the summary there. But the basic control issues that I'm having are going a long way to illustrate a lot of the other issues that this game has in general, as opposed to that it has just with me. Oop, I did not mean to spend the last of that. Oh well. Hopefully I can find a recharge booth somewhere soon. Health pack. Alright, so here's a prime example. The health pack shows up that far away. The icon indicating, hey, there's a health pack here. But the game seems really finicky about when I can actually pick them up. So there it seemed to be okay with me being about a meter or so away from the item when I was picking it up. Other times it really just refused unless I was standing right on top of the item, and even then it was basically complaining unless I happened to be. What? I only just got on the train. Why are we moving? Okay, whatever. Maybe when I saved it bumped me back a train station. Sure, why not? Really frustrating, though, just navigating through something like this, just saving my game is so difficult and awkward that I can't. It takes longer and it's needless. All they had to do was actually calibrate the game.
You've got two problems, and we're working on borrowed time here. First, there's no fuel in the engines. Second, the gravity centrifuge is offline, which means there's a couple of trillion tons of rock pulling us down. I need you to get that centrifuge operational. Refuel the main engine and fire it up so I can stabilize the ship's orbit.
Alright. I'm gonna take a very quick break here just to deal with that text I received earlier, and I will be right back. Okay, yeah. Leaving to answer a text in the middle of a recording, probably not the most professional thing, but since I'm not getting paid, this isn't going to be a professional quality gig no matter what. So, my apologies for the interruption. Wine racks, okay. Yeah, well, okay. I was going to say, picking things up from the closets, same kind of thing. I've run into more than one instance where I pressed the button and I had to mash it a couple times just to get it to actually register. Let's just, alright, so here's an example of where this becomes frustrating, like I was saying. I'm going to take a very careful shot to shear off this guy's leg just in case he's actually a monster who's going to pop up at me. When I coincidentally I pulled the aim button and I'm down here, so I'm moving to slowly get up over his leg. I'm still moving the mouse. I'm still moving the mouse. In the middle of a firefight, the fact that I cannot aim precisely at all is crippling. It's causing incredible frustration for me. And that's a very serious issue for this game in particular. But maybe I will, maybe I'll stop just bitching for a moment, and I'll wait until I actually get into a fight. So here, I pressed the pickup button about 3 times there. Maybe 4, I think it was just 3. I've gotten into the habit, even just in the last little while that I've been doing this, of just hammering the buttons rather than actually rather than pressing once and waiting for the result, because that just doesn't pay. I just button mash by default at this point. Let's see what we can get in the shop. Okay. Already have that. Here's a game where the enemies have strategic dismemberment. They only die if you pick off their limbs, and they want me to use a rapid fire high kick gun, yeah? Or a gun that doesn't even actually target specific positions, but just produces a general blaze. Terrible. Pointless. Already got that. Plasma energy is available in abundance. Pulse rounds. Med packs and air cans, again, usually it pays more to save your shekels and just pick those up around the environment. Let's see what's in the old inventory. Since you're picking most of the time, just picking these up in the environment, it doesn't usually pay to sell them, it pays to actually use them. I don't have any types of ammo, except the ones that I need for the guns that I'm using, so we're gonna keep doing that. Yeah, okay. And I don't have any kinds of items that I need to store in the safe at the moment. So, this is one thing that really bugs me right here. This is the tell me where to go button. It's the tell me where to go button in lieu of
Personal log.
a map.
Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple.
Yeah.
It's been 2 days since they pulled that planet open, since the captain died. The panic, the riots, they were nothing compared with what came after. Our friends, our co-workers, started coming back. Changed, coming back to kill us, drag us away. Rucker disappeared this morning, and I have to assume he's dead. My crew, they're starting to crack. I'm trying to keep an eye on them, but right now I have bigger problems. We're hemorrhaging fuel, and the primary engine is laboring. Danvers and I are going to try to reach the fuel depot to see if we can fix it. Temple out.
Man, I cannot stand it in horror stories when people resort to the kind of vagaries like, they started coming back. What do you mean they started coming back? The animating that people do in this game when they convert into necromorph is nothing like coming back to life. It looks more like an alien life form that was inside them is ripping its way out of them. So characterizing it again as here again I'm doing subtle small motions in an effort to aim properly. They warn you right at the start of the game, conserve ammunition by aiming for the weak points, which are the joints in this game, not the head, not the chest. Don't aim for center mass. It does not pay, right? But then they saddle me with a control scheme that doesn't even let me do that. Sorry, that was me being jumpy, I guess. I heard the body part rocking back and forth there, and when I turned around I saw movement, so I just fired. But here's the things again, you know, I've been shearing body parts off of every corpse that I come across, and it just takes forever. It takes forever because, you know, if it's just a human body like this one, I'll walk up and I'll just step on it. Incidentally, stepping on them looks terrible. Stepping on them looks terrible because it doesn't seem to detect properly. I'll shoot or stab or step on something in the knee and its ankle will break off, or vice versa. Like the collision detection is just really shitty. They have text logs. Why in God's name would you ever have text logs in a game like this? This is an action game. Arguably one of the worst things about Amnesia, for instance, as a horror game, is that they kept stopping you to make you to read this text. But even then, even in Amnesia, it was a game where, how do I do this? I already pressed enter. Again, I pressed enter, like it says at the bottom, to select, and it didn't do anything, so I tried my mouse instead. When controls are that unresponsive, how am I even supposed to gauge what I'm supposed to do? I press a button, nothing happens. I think, that's a control scheme from some other game. I'm just doing this wrong. No, it seems quite frequently to actually just be an issue with it seems quite often to just be an issue with the game refusing to acknowledge that I pressed the button. Alright, so here's an interesting, quote-unquote, problem. I just paid for this node, and almost immediately I'm regretting it. I should have got this one down here. Why is that? I paid for this node. The node that I want is that one. So I can go straight to the damage right over there. But what I'd like to do, obviously, is pick up the reload speed, or the reload speed increase and the firing rate increase. But in order to get those two, I'm now going to have to waste an additional node. Right? I could have done it. Oh no, I'm talking out of my ass. That's the exact same cost. It just feels inefficient because here I'm getting the direct line, and when I go down to pick these up, it's going to be a pointless deviation. Well, not pointless, but it's going to be a deviation. Anyway, so now I get to choose, do I waste or do I go and get the reload benefit? And this is the real scheme that they're working on here, is they want to tantalize, basically, and get you to go down a route that's more immediately useful, but in the long run maybe not actually optimal. To completely fill this grid and get every benefit is going to be extremely costly and require a lot of nodes in the long run, whereas to just get a handful and take a very direct route through the grid and just pick up a couple of benefits will be relatively cheap. So that's kind of the decision they're asking me to make as a player. But that's a decision that is, by its very definition, just by the basic functionality of it, that's a frustrating decision to ask a person to make. That's asking a person to pick between crap now for better stuff later, or immediate tangible benefits that might prove to be more costly in the long run. And I constantly second guess myself with this stuff because I feel like maybe that's part of the point. Maybe the reason those upgrades work that way is to make it ever so slightly frustrating, I shouldn't say frustrating, is just to make you feel ever so slightly hopeless. Like there's no good way to do this. This is just all shitty decisions all the time. And I feel like... Oh! God damn it. Alright, so... I guess the difference between a meaningful enemy spawn and a meaningless enemy spawn is just whenever the hell the developers feel like it. So when I was playing Amnesia, that was very strange right there. I walked up to the thing, I recognized it as a med pack just by the visual. I pressed the use key, nothing happened, Then, after the brief delay, the actual image popped up saying, hey, this is a med pack. And then when I pressed the use key, it was willing to actually give me the thing. Just... they never tire of just fucking with me. In ways that don't make any sense, right? Something like the enemy popping up, before it's actually possible to fight it. I can understand why they do that from a horror perspective. But something, for instance, like making it frustrating to acquire items, that doesn't seem like it's supposed to be horrifying. Arguably in a game like Amnesia, you could see that. Because, for instance... Okay. I'm pressing the switch firing mode button there because I want to switch into the horizontal mode. I pressed it 3 times before I actually got the switch. And the game has done nothing to indicate to me what I actually need to do to get the switch to take place. It appears to happen almost instantaneously, unless I'm firing the gun. When I fire the gun, it seems like there's a slight delay before it's actually able to do a conversion, which has me thinking that basically it has to resolve the fire animation beforehand. That is, again, unbelievably frustrating. I understand maybe that it can switch directions mid-shot, but if I issue the order, why shouldn't it be able then to... why shouldn't it do the directional swap, or the alt-fire swap, as the case may be, right after the round finishes? Like, why doesn't that just queue up a command? Incidentally, the reason I'm not moving right now is because I'm just hammering my use key to illustrate the fact that I could use my use key. It allowed me to tap it in order to open this container, but I actually have to step slightly to the right rather, before it will let me pick up the contents of that box. Why? If I'm in position to open the box, why would I not be in position to pick up the contents of the box? These are things that are frustrating for no reason. That's not a horror issue. I was going to say, in Amnesia, quite frequently, they pull a horror trick where, for instance, you have to use their kind of clumsy physics engine in order to... Oh, I get it, sorry. It's taking a bit to figure this out.
Refueling sequence activated.
That was confusing. I thought that was a sign that was telling me to do something with something in the distance, but that was actually just a switch. Why they need Kinesis to just pull a switch rather than just letting that be a press of the use key, that's beyond me. I can't fathom why they would need that. But regardless, that's what they decided to do. It's not bad. That kind of concept, having me use the Kinesis more regularly, keeps me in mind that Kinesis is an option. I made this complaint in Amnesia as well, that one of the most irritating things was figuring out whether a puzzle was asking me. It is just comical how fucking fragile these people's bodies are. Sorry, what was I saying? I made the complaint in Amnesia that one of the most irritating things was not being able to tell whether a puzzle was meant to be... here, there's a button. Whether a puzzle was meant to be a physics thing, where I was supposed to throw a rock or move a beam or something like that, or whether a particular puzzle was an abstract thing where I was expected to manipulate objects in my inventory. So having the occasional switch be operated with the Kinesis thing is great. Oh, thank you, environmental piece getting stuck right in the goddamn way. That's frustrating. A big pack of enemies comes at me. In any other game, you know, I'm a practiced enough shooter that I would just be moving rapidly from weak point to weak point to weak point, just mowing them down. And instead, I always feel like a butcher in this game. I feel like I'm just standing here, desperately flailing in random directions. Oh, I guess I could have shot those. That would have dealt with the situation a little quicker. But I feel like I'm just sort of desperately flailing around, accomplishing very little with individual hits and just praying that, you know, I can connect. Because again, here's me moving in a smooth circle, you know. I don't know how that's going to look on the video, but it looks pretty fucking jerky from my perspective. What was I saying? Oh, using the kinesis to operate switches. Honestly, though, I'd still argue in favor of consistency. Make every switch operated via kinesis. You know, there's no reason not to. Oh, that wasn't actually an enemy. That enemy was an invincible enemy. Again, that feels like cheating. That feels like the game. You know, it's one thing to have them kind of running around in the floorboards, visibly separated from me in some way. But it's another thing altogether to have them sharing my physical space, and have me be able to aim and have me be able to get my projectile to connect with the model. Anyway, have my projectile connect with the model of the target, and have it just do nothing. That's an insult, rather than anything else. I gotta use one of these things. They look like these like clip-shaped flashlights that I used to have as a kid that would attach to books. I don't know, they're really weird. The model on the stasis battery things. Stasis, incidentally, has been my saving grace. I actually think stasis is a really good idea, really cool design, and you know, it's one of this game's triumphs. Being able to freeze the enemies like that's something that I think every game should have. Like I said, I'm a precision-oriented guy. I like to do 1 or 2 shots, and I want those 1 or 2 shots to count. So being able to freeze enemies like that it's a big deal for me. Unfortunately, as I said, in this particular game, it's just horse shit. It doesn't ever seem to pay off.
Whatever you did, it's working, Isaac. I have
Yeah,
a few
whatever
reading.
I did.
It's only a quarter full, but that's enough to restore orbit once you bring the engines online. What the hell?
Look.
False
Good
alarm.
for the bones.
Thought I saw something.
Keeps you from getting stomped apart like fucking Play-Doh, like these people. Alright, so here's a problem I have with this game. This is an action game, and this is the proof. They never give me a map. They just give me the opportunity at any time to make a little line appear on the ground and tell me exactly where I need to go. And again, what I was doing there was aiming carefully, you know, rightmost, middlemost, leftmost. My gun happened to fall on the middlemost, and all 3 shots went into the head. Somehow that was adequate. Where is that? Yeah? Yeah, heaven forbid we have an automatic reload when I run out of ammo, right? You know, that wouldn't make any kind of sense. Fucking stupid, this game. It really bugs me. Anyway, what was I saying? Here we go. Alright, so I'm never given a minimap. I'm never asked to navigate. And thank fuck for that, because the level design, in spite of this... how do I get this across? Was that a noise from something in the environment, or was that just a noise? Thanks again, game, for maintaining a clear distinction between, you know, stupid bullshit and things I actually need to pay attention to. I get that. Again, that's a frustrating design element, but it's one that at least actually makes sense. You encounter that in Amnesia a lot as well, where they play a lot of just kind of bullshit noises in the background all the time. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was a new corpse or an old corpse. They play a lot of bullshit noises in the background all the time, and initially that made it very difficult for me to tell the difference between something I actually needed to address and deal with, and things that were just dumb shit that they were doing to scare me. With Amnesia, it eventually became apparent that there were specific musical cues and certain monster roars that actually count, and that the rest were bogus. No? Are we not going to get an immediate clusterfuck? We're just going to wait? Oh no, in fact there's not going to be a clusterfuck here at all, not until much later. That was just another, isn't it spooky when we have monsters waltz in front of you all over the screen? Oh man, I'm really wishing I was not being this negative. Like, I don't want this to just be a video of me chewing out Dead Space the entire time. But here's the thing. This is brilliant. This is arguably brilliant. This means they can have complex level layouts that more realistically reflect, you know, how you'd expect a ship like the Ishimura to be organized and laid out. Am I seriously out of ammo? Oh. Well, that is really weird. What is this thing? Medium air can. Okay. Well, I guess I'll use the line gun for a while then, eh? Oh, scroll wheel. Nope. The line gun is apparently... What the fuck? That is the alt fire. Good to know. Seriously? I don't have any room for it? What did I pick up? Oh. Well, I tell you what. I will load those rounds into my gun, and there you go. And I guess I better use this for a while anyway, because apparently I've collected too much ammunition. Man, fuck you. I hacked that body apart specifically to avoid this. Are those things actually just gonna hang out there? Oh, until I open the door for them. Yeah, great. So this is a pretty clever horror trick. Like it is a smart thing to do in a horror game. And that is, let me know that something extremely bad is going to happen, right? But then make it my responsibility, effectively, to visit that horrible thing upon myself. Or don't. What the fuck? They just wandered off? The music is really getting excited here. And then it has nowhere to go. Shouldn't they be coming after me? I don't know, whatever. Look, I'm just gonna go deal with this in the stupid Dead Space way that they want me to. Why are they still playing that music? Well, if the music's still going, that means there's still an enemy in the area. So let's have it. Pop out of your fucking monster closet. No. God, what a fucking irritating noise that is. Alright, whatever. They're just gonna keep playing that music. Fan-fucking-tastic. Ugh. Alright, whatever. I will buy a power node, because that is what you should do anytime that you have enough money to do it. Then I will sell some small med packs, because you can't possibly need more than 3 of them. Then I will sell this small air can, because the medium one will definitely be enough for any situation I'm going to encounter in the near future. That will be it. And I guess I'll save. Oh, thank Christ, something could shut those strings up. Nope. Only temporarily. Alright, so what was I talking about? I was talking about maps. I never seem to actually be able to get past that point. They get to have a complex level layout. A complex level layout is great if your game is oriented around exploration. I think that might be what they're trying to do. But because the level design is just so many identical fucking hallways and reused rooms, I really struggle to tell where I am or where I'm going, which makes exploration really problematic. So because of their shitty level design, they had to invent this crutch so that you'd always be able to get back on track and get to your objectives. But as a direct result of that...
This is Temple. Now the centrifuge is offline. We've got 4 trillion tons of rock hanging off our ass, and without that centrifuge to balance the ship, the gravity tethers will pull us straight down to the colony. I'm heading in there now to see if I can fix it.
What was I saying? This crutch is like way too much, first of all. It completely destroys any interest or challenge in navigation, which means that I generally feel motivated only to explore as far as my ability to see shiny bits out of the corner of my eye. If I see something shiny, I will go get the shiny thing, and other than that, Anytime I hit an intersection, after every fight, constantly, I just refer, tell me exactly the fuck where to go. Other games try to make, navigation part of the game. They go ahead and they give you a map, and they give you maybe a marker, or they give you a directional heading, and they expect you to either navigate the map to the marker on the map, or they expect you to, by combination of the map and the directional marker, figure out a route to an unspecified location. And wouldn't it just be fucking wonderful? Why bother to upgrade the Kinesis module? I really don't get that. Anyway, it's also the only one where every single thing is actually a benefit, so that's weird and confusing. Two nodes I could sink into that and get absolutely nothing out of it. Wouldn't that be cool? Damage and reload speed. Capacity. Ammo capacity on this gun would actually be pretty freaking sweet, if only because right now it's ammo is taking up absurd tons of space in my inventory. So I think I might do exactly that and just sink both of these to ammo capacity. And then I will go and reload my line gun. That. So, that didn't actually free up any space, but it will very soon. Now, is there a store somewhere nearby so I can sell some of this crap? Oh my goodness, I wonder if this is going to be an extended sequence where I wait for a countdown timer to go and I have to defend the room against many necromorphs.
Decontamination sequence activated. Please stand by.
Oh, and they're gonna expect me to, rapidly look around at different views in order to figure out which targets I need to shoot. What is even going on? Did they just break in? No. They did. And apparently my reload button doesn't always work. Unless I'm holding down the aiming key while pressing it. Oh, that time it did. I don't know. Maybe that counted because I don't even care to conjecture. The controls in this game are bad. They are not working. They do not do what they claim to do. They are the very definition of bad. Yeah, I'm sure that was an effective decontamination too, what with all of the breaches. It's really great that there's no, emergency override. So, it's like they wanted you to explore and to have that kind of exploration element, but this weirdly undercuts that. I guess it makes it just makes it stupidly easy. So what it has meant for me is that I just turn my brain off. I never bother to actually make conscious decisions about where I'm going, and I don't care where I'm going. They did the little thing where they said, "Oh, whatever you did, it worked," but all I was doing, I wasn't cognizant of anything that was going on. All I was ever doing was, following this line, and whenever I walked up to an interactable object, I did the interaction. how little do they want me to care about their ongoing plot that they make it possible to completely ignore it? And maybe that's okay for them. Maybe they want it to be possible to completely ignore the plot. But alright, hang on. What about this thing? Reload that. See if that makes some room. Oh, that didn't make enough room. Well, I'm trying to remember if small med packs are worth more or less, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that at a minimum, medium air cans are worth more than small air cans. So that's going to be my choice there. Yeah, better save, I guess. When they give you the option. That's nice. That's a nice design element, giving you basically the option.
Exiting zero gravity.
When did we enter zero gravity? Nice bug. Amnesia has a checkpoint system. What that meant was that when I fucked something up, I could not go back and fix things because I'd passed a checkpoint. Giving the person the free ability to save, and even giving them a quick save, means that they can save scum, where they can, particularly if there are randomized elements in your game, they can keep reloading until they get a good roll. Excuse me. It's quite late at night. That's not just because Dead Space is boring. But this is literally the fix. This is the way to repair the problems with both systems. You can only save when the game allows you to, but other than that, it's an actual proper save. You can go, you can delete saves, you can make additional saves. You have all the options that you want without having to sacrifice any of the design.
Zero gravity.
That's gross. Alright, what am I supposed to do here? Wow. That was really magnificent. I guess this is why you'd want to increase the range. So you can reach dumb objects floating in the middle of a room. Oh, was that actually a noise that mattered? Yeah. I'm hearing more noises than just this guy. So I'm trying to figure out where the other one is. Oh, it's right on top of the map. Cool. So that's also really great because the Alright, well, let's use a med pack, why not? Because the view is so shitty and awful, I can't easily look around. I have to kind of commit to looking in a particular direction, because I can't rapidly switch between views. You can trust it's visible just how nauseating that is when I'm looking around like that. Okay. But you can kind of see what I mean about how it's like completely irrelevant how I choose to move around these environments. What? Your thing told me to go in here and then right back out? Centrifuge. Okay.
Centrifuge power offline. Clear
Oh, I have to...
generator modules manually, then return to the station.
Yeah. Okay. I don't understand. How can I... Surely you mean for me to go up there. That's too far. How about there? How about there? Real good pathfinding on that one, hey? No, you literally just want me to press this button again? That's confusing. The button didn't do anything when I pressed it.
Centrifuge power offline. Please attach generator modules manually, then return to the station.
My god, are they actually expecting me to go without? They are. They actually expect me to just figure out what I'm doing. Holy shit. I don't know whether to be, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't understand. Why can't I go down there? What do you mean it's too far away? That doesn't make any sense. It's right fucking there. Whatever. So I guess I have to push those things into... Yeah. Just waiting for exactly that time to show up.
Generator module attached.
Oh.
Centrifuge power
Another one? Where is it? I like that the plasma cutter has two different directions for the firing orientation, and that neither of them matters in the least. Neither of them is even remotely significant. That is actually just really fantastic. Because I could shoot that guy's joint in the exact same place using the wrong orientation and have it take the full effect. Can't fucking see. Is that all of it? This thing is blinking in red. Does that mean we still have a problem? What do you mean? What you mean is that that's a rough surface where you didn't actually plan, like to map me being able to walk on that surface, so you're just not going to let me, even though it looks like I should obviously be able to do it there. Yeah, fantastic. Good job breaking the immersion there.
Reestablishing balance with planetary cargo. Gravity restored. Entering vacuum.
You're doing great, Isaac. Centrifuge and gyros are both 100% and stabilized. Now get out of there and focus on the engine. I don't know how much time we have left.
Huh. I'm sure they have a lovely kill animation for if that big swinging arm hits you. Seriously, oxygen recharge? I don't even actually need the O2 canisters that you had floating in this very room. Alright, buddy. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get mowed down by that, yeah, centrifuge arm while I, boogie. Okay. Why is he gasping? He has 30 seconds of air left. Doesn't make any sense.
Exiting vacuum.
Like, shouldn't he only gasp once he's out of air? Like, I don't... Whatever. I get it. They're just trying to give you, like, an audio indication, but that is just, like, a really shitty way to do it. Doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Maybe it's something like the air quality is dropping off as he's doing that, because it's just a rebreather, so it's feeding him more and more CO2 as the count goes down or something. Yeah. I'm willing to buy that kind of shitty explanation. Whoa! Maybe give me... Yeah, alright. It's not like the freaking aim scheme isn't hard enough to operate already without you jerking the camera around like an asshole. Pretty handy that that giant tentacle worm nonsense has like a convenient weird herniation going on at that knuckle. Thankfully, at least, I mean, it's not really. I don't get it. Like, do they make the enemies run past like that because they think it's super scary to warn me that they're coming? Alright, I'm gonna level with you. Dead Space isn't scary. Dead Space is an action game, and it's a frustrating action game. But it is not an effective horror game. Oh, I thought I had a node. Never mind. What am I doing at this bench? Whether the map thing is dumb or not, I mean, I guess they slapped me right there by actually giving me a level space where I was expected to just navigate in space. It was very small, very contained, so that it wouldn't be too frightening for me, but good job from them at least not literally walking me from one objective point to the next objective point
Isaac,
within the very room.
Can you hear me? It's Kendra. They attacked me, I ran for it, and Hammond he just disappeared.
Well, he's been talking to me on the thing, so... Oh,
Where are you?
there you go.
Nice to see you're alive and well, Hammond. I've barricaded myself in the computer core. I can hear them moving outside, but I don't think they know I'm in here. I can log into everything from here. I hacked the route and found some reports from the colony. Even before they cracked the planet, the colonists were experiencing widespread dementia. It seems to be related to some artifact they found on the planet. Something called the Marker.
The Marker.
I'll keep looking. I've got your location and I'm going to unlock the door to fuel storage. You can get to the engine chamber from there.
The Ripper's fun. Maybe I'll pick that up. Oh. Dang. That set me over my credit limit for buying another node. We'd sell some other shit, like this large med pack. Doesn't really seem like I'll need it. Yeah, why not? Only on normal difficulty. Alright. No, wasn't there a bench back there? I seem to recall a bench. Oh cool, Ripper blades. Alright, so if I'm remembering correctly, the primary fire on the Ripper is to fire out a little saw blade, and the alt fire is to just have it work like a circular saw and cut dudes up. Yeah. What the fuck? Okay, this is not the right hallway. But this is what I mean, right? Like, this should be navigational. You know, me, you know, exploring this base. Oh, I recall there was a bench in location X. So let me, you know, navigate my way there. Because I want to make use of it, right? But instead it's just kind of like, I don't fucking know where anything is, let's guess this away. You know, and it's really stupid and frustrating. Width. Oh, that's hilarious. Alright, so I can upgrade the mine. I'm trying to get the remaining capacity upgrades is the big thing, because the line gun's ammo is taking up tons of space in my inventory. Well, that would be very unsatisfying. That would be fairly satisfying. That would be very unsatisfying. So, hit points or plasma cutter mine damage. Or sorry, line gun mine damage. Oh, or the Ripper. Hey, why not? No, you know what, I better go with the capacity upgrade. Because again, carrying all these different types of ammo is a real bitch. And for whatever reason, the assholes at the shops don't feel like it's important for me to have regular access to the, I don't know, you can see here, this is the limit on my inventory. There's a bunch of grayed out space and I can get that space unlocked, but I don't have it unlocked right now. So yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm supposed to be able to buy upgrades for the suit that increase my storage capacity. And they have not made that available to me. They gave me one suit upgrade so far. And I already got it. First thing I bought. So I have to say, overall, Dead Space 2, I think, is doing a better job of what this game seems to be trying to do. Because what this game actually is trying to do, as I said, is it's trying to be an action game. With kind of a very horror bent. And it's doing a really, really bad job as a consequence on both fronts, basically. Because it's compromising both in order to do both at once.
Entering zero gravity.
What am I supposed to be doing here? Hey, cool, Ripper blades. Okay, what am I, oh, you know what, why don't I
Exiting zero gravity.
just gonna go get an air rifle here. Hey, look, they actually have airlocks that work like airlocks.
Exiting vacuum.
That's cool. I appreciate that. Anyway.
Entering vacuum.
I keep trying to do these kind of high concept discussions
Entering
about what the
zero
game is
gravity.
trying to do and what it's trying to be, but I keep getting interrupted and sidetracked, and that makes it really hard for me to maintain my train of thought. Did I see a necromorph? There we go. There he is. I feel like these sections actually do horror much better in general. Right, where's the... Yeah, first of all, nice pathfinding, asshole. Ah, fuck you. Why? Alright, can I just walk on? Alright,
Exiting zero
fantastic.
gravity.
God, here's a game where you can do zero-G jumps, but not just jumps.
Exiting vacuum.
Fucking Christ. Actually, it makes more sense. You can't just do a regular jump whilst zero-G. Up from the surface. Not the angle that I was suggesting there. We'll use the river for some fun. I guess take the elevator down. What's this? Storage closet. Cool.
This is Temple. Screw the engine. I can't restart it by myself, and with all the other shit going on, it's obvious this is sabotage. I'm heading for the bridge, and then I need to find Elizabeth. I gotta get her off this ship. It's not safe.
Are there any other shinies? No. Okay. Alright. So, fundamental problem number one. If you can effectively kill the things that are attacking you, they are not scary. Period. There is no way around that problem. If you think you can make a scary game where you can kill the stuff that scares you, you are wrong. Nothing that you can murder will ever frighten. Not in the horror way. Not in the, dear God, please get me out of here kind of way. Because the fact that you can kill them means that you can get out of there. The fact that you can kill the people you need to kill means that thanks for just being in the way, Isaac. That's great. Fuck. The fact that you can kill the things that you need to kill means that all of the tension associated with the fear for your life is dissolved. All you can hope to do is make it a little more tense during the fight. But, I mean, that's the thing about Really? Okay. Sorry, that's the thing. In any action game, the blood gets pumping. You have sort of the adrenaline response. But the thing about the adrenaline response is two kinds of adrenaline responses. There's fight and fear, right? The biological response is the same for both of them, right? Either way, your body just gears up for intense physical activity. So the difference between flight and fight is, am I going to run away or am I going to kill things? And in a game where you have the option to kill things, or where you are, as in this game, expected to kill things, the answer is universally going to be The answer is universally going to be that you're preparing for a fight, which means that you are just as likely to get pumped as you are to get scared. And over time, as the actual fear of whatever you are fighting diminishes, it will be replaced with confidence. It will be replaced with... What? Okay. That box had a blood spatter in it. For no reason. And now I'm full up again. What's this? Maybe a med pack schematic. I guess that's a good thing to bring along. So this is the problem. If you're going for horror, don't give me the power to destroy the things that frighten me, because, again, if I can remove the source of fear, then it is not frightening. And as increasingly it becomes apparent to me that I don't need to be afraid of the source of my fear. In this case, it was never apparent to me that I should be afraid in the first place, because I knew going in that this was an action game. But anyway, as the things inevitably become less frightening, right? If they're not killing you, eventually they're going to... It's going to decay, you know? If you're not losing to them, then eventually you're going to just become less frightened of them. You know, even in Amnesia, you know, eventually you come to know the monsters, how they behave, and how you can get around them. And as a direct consequence of that, they cease to be frightening. That takes a longer time with them, because the way that you defeat them involves sort of outsmarting them, avoiding them, and doesn't, very critically, does not involve murdering them or eliminating them completely. See you back there, Chubbs, a bunch. But, anything to get that orchestra to shut the hell up, hey? Oh, they started up again. Is there more? Are there more boring combats? Alright, so complete failure on the horror side of things. Because look at this, I walked into a room of horrifying, dangerous things, and without even getting anywhere near them, I just mowed them down. Even in a game where I don't have precise enough control to do things surgically, I can still be a butcher with no difficulty whatsoever. So why should I be scared of these things? It's not even hard to kill them. They're like enemies in any action game. They come at you en masse because they're like the fucking they're like the fucking robots from Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like they cannot do anything to stop me. And when they're that pathetic, there's just no way that they can also be scary. The most frightening thing is when there's a huge pile of them and they're already really close to you. Because that's another thing. For the most part, they take fucking forever just to walk over to you. That's not scary. It's, arguably scary when they charge at you, at least. But they don't do that often. That's great.
Please confirm ignition.
So, here's the premise. The rest of the time, the premise is, they're going to get an enemy up and close. Where the enemy in question has the advantage, right? Wrong. First of all, I have short-range weapons like the Ripper available to me. But secondly, this is an action game. I keep saying it. It's because it's true. It's an action game. And the fact that it's an action game means that when they get in close, where I can't easily shoot at them, it becomes frustrating. See, you've already lost the horror part. You can't scare me with these guys. All that you can do... Hang on, I gotta drop something. Drop that. Okay. And then pick up the line gun stuff. And then reload the line... What? I picked up the... Drop the thing, and then get far the fuck away from it, because apparently... Okay. Then go get the schematic, then go get the credits. Fucking Christ. That's not incredibly frustrating. Why can I not just pick up objects directly off the ground and load them into my guns? Why do they have to stop off in my inventory first so that I have to do stupid inventory management? Why didn't you think of this eventuality? I'm sure this is not the first time that this has come up.
Engines firing.
Everybody putting their hands up. I would like to register a complaint. What am I supposed to be doing? Oh, now I can get out of here. My work here is done, apparently.
It's working. We're online and functional. Finally, some good news. Get a tram to the bridge, Isaac. I'm gonna take us back into a geostation.
Wait, we're not safe yet. Ship's asteroid defense system is offline. On the way up, The ship's going to pass through a debris field thrown up from the planet crack. We'll be ripped to pieces unless you restart it.
God damn it! I'll start working on it from here.
It's
Isaac, meet
completely
me at the
irrelevant,
bridge.
you
You can do more
assholes.
good
You may
here
as
than
well
I can.
just be telling me to go press buttons, right? Like, oh, we need to press button H before we can, you know, win. Because, again, like, it's completely meaningless and irrelevant that that was an engines thing. I don't even remember being dispatched to deal with that. I just go wherever this thing tells me to go. Because it's the only way to go. This game, you know, they give you these vaguely open levels to play around in, but they're not actually asking you to explore them. There's only one thing you can ever do in them to move the plot along. You know, like, this is something I even criticized Amnesia for, was the fact that there's this issue of total linearity. Let's see. I think I'm going to drop that in favor of these. Nope, I picked the thing up that I dropped. Thanks again, fucking game. Isn't your control scheme wonderful? I guess we'll drop 2 Ripper Blades in favor of 2 line gun racks. Okay, so, why else?
Isaac, where are you? It's me, Nicole.
Cool. Your wife's not dead yet. Either that or you're hallucinating. I can't remember which one it is at this point. You're hallucinating pretty hard all through the second game, so I have a sneaking suspicion she might already be toast. But then again, they're asking me to care about the life of a guy who's a complete mute. So I'm not sure they fathom just how few fucks I give. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. Oh, I have to reload the gun first. There we go. See? And then I can pick up those Ripper Blades. And then I can run back this way and pick up the other Ripper Blades. Because, you know... Okay, here again, gotta get to bitch. Items of the same type stack in my inventory. Items of different types don't. So, I can carry like a gajillion Ripper Blades. And they take up the same amount of space as one Ripper Blade. But a single Ripper Blade and a single line gun thing? Oh, those cannot share inventory space. Yeah, how do I please give me the other thing? Is there a button for that? There we go. That's one way to do it. Oh, I lost a bunch of health back there. There's another idea. Spend the health pack and free up even more space here. There we go. Anyway, yeah, so stupid inventory management. I mean, that particular example is just sort of a standard cliche in video games. Doesn't make it any less irritating. Doesn't mean the design's any less obviously bad. But, at least that one, you know, is not explicitly Dead Space's fault. What is explicitly Dead Space's fault is giving me the power to kill the things that are supposed to be frightening me. Which means it cannot possibly be frightening. So, I definitely don't need anywhere near this many stasis packs. Semiconductors might as well be gemstones. I don't need a small air can while I've got a medium air can. It's increasingly looking like I don't need air cans at all, incidentally. So with all of that, I can afford a power node. And with my power node, I really ought to run back to that room, hey? And, no, maybe? That's a long way to go. So I think I'm going to opt out, just because that would be incredibly boring. And because, again, it's no longer the objective, so they're not going to help me find that. You know, they're not certainly not going to give me a map. They're just going to say, you know, no, keep following the fucking line on the ground like a good little drone. Fucking Christ. Alright, I think I might stop here since we're doing another train station event. But closing thoughts. I'm actually going to try and wrap up this idea. Horror fails because it's an action game. The action game fails because it's a horror game. I don't have the precision to do action game stuff. That's not a design choice on their part. That's just a design. That's just a failure on the game of the game as a whole. But the design failures are things like they make the enemies pop up right the fuck next to you, because that's supposed to be scary. It's not scary. It's frustrating. It's irritating because it's more difficult for me to kill them that way. I know I'm going to kill them. I know they're not going to kill me, so I'm not frightened when they pop up right next to me. It just takes longer and means that I'm more likely to lose health. I still react just by murdering them. So, where I'd like to use a long-range precision tactical approach, I end up having to use a short-range, just flail the Ripper around kind of approach. Thankfully, blessedly, in Dead Space 2, they eventually had a gun that was effectively a shotgun that just fired off a massive pulse wave and turned things into goo. So I used that gun almost exclusively, just because it was way easier than anything else. I just could turn my brain off. I would hear things roar, I would turn to face them, and annihilate them. But that doesn't really make for a very fun game, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just utterly failing at everything that it's ever trying to do. All the while just constantly frustrating me with basic lack of functionality. I do not have a lot of good things to say about the way that Dead Space is tripping over its own feet. Both in terms of the design objectives and in terms of, like, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to enjoy this game. I can't enjoy it as an action game, and it's not legitimately frightening enough to enjoy it as a horror game. You know, there's never a choice to hide. There's never a choice to run.
Isaac, come in.
I'm never given
Kendra's
an
right.
option, even.
The ADS is completely shot. I'll need your help to fix
succeed, right? Like, I
Kendra,
cannot
if you
win
can hear me,
this
see if you
game
can
by
get to
doing
the ship's
anything
reports.
except being
It sounds
an
like you have better
indestructible
access from
badass.
there.
When were you going to tell us about the artifact, Hammond? This marker?
I don't know anything about that. It's referenced in the captain's records. They brought it up from the planet.
It's on the ship?
In cargo. They think it's of alien origin, but I don't know what the hell it is.
Really? CEC didn't know anything about it. You're lying.
Back up! I am not the bad guy here. Ross shake you right now. You're gonna have to trust that I don't know anything about it. We've entered the debris field. Get to the captain's nest. I'll explain everything later. Hammond down.
If combat was hard, okay, that's the closing thought. If you look at a game like Silent Hill, yeah, you can kill the enemies, but it's a pain in the ass to kill the enemies. It's not a good, fun time to kill the enemies. Sorry, I'm kind of talking out of my ass here. I haven't ever played any Silent Hill games except for one. And the Silent Hill game that I played was Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which, like Amnesia, takes the only fucking intelligent approach. And if you want to be frightened of the monsters, do not give your player character the capacity to fight back. So when the monsters attack you in Silent Hill Shattered Memories, you have two options: run away from them, or wait for them to attack you and then throw them to the ground. Throwing to the ground doesn't stop them. You take health damage when they jump on you, and you throw them to the ground, and then they get back up and they come at you again. So you have to run, and running is the only thing you can do. You can, sometimes topple obstacles behind you, but this is the point. That is frightening. Helplessness, danger, that's frightening. I'm in no danger. I have a huge green health bar running down the back of my character. I have another little bar telling me how much stop the enemies in their tracks so that you can mow them down juice I have. And in my hands, I have, what even is this? Look at this enormous contraption. Look at this fucking penis extension that I am holding in my hands right now. And tell me why I should be scared. So I'm not scared. And if I'm not scared, then I must be here just to kick ass and chew gum. But the game is constantly getting in my way in that regard as well. By doing things like spawning the enemies in places where I can't easily shoot at them. Spawning enemies in, not even to be shot at, just to dance around on the screen in an attempt to induce creepiness. Which, by the way, is still actually working against that objective. But maybe I can talk about that at a later date. Anyway, I'm going to shut the hell up now. I think I've made my point. And we'll see more of Dead Space on a later occasion. Hope you enjoyed the show.